Most of us heard about Alpine JS. Alpine JS is a minimal JavaScript library with very powerful features. I always thought that I should try Alpine rather than writing vanilla JavaScript for my side projects. Yes, I write JavaScript in the old way, but every time I put this idea to the back seat and go with plain vanilla JavaScript. Yes, it is my comfort zone, but this time I have to change it. I have to learn Alpine and use it in my project. I take this as a challenge. Will I succeed? In the morning, I opened my laptop and landed on the Alpine homepage. The homepage is nice and clean and have some brief examples. I think to learn new tools, it is better to read documentation to figure out yourself rather than follow a tutorial on YouTube. This way, you learn by doing, which is very powerful and very hard to forget. The drawback of following a YouTube tutorial is it is not practical to include all the use cases of a tool you might need for your project, and following a video consumes so much time. If I read documentation, I can do it in my pace and quickly navigate around topics. In a video, this is next to impossible. Let's come back to Alpine JS. I have an idea. Why don't I create the famous TODO app with Alpine JS? Many of you may mock me for building a TODO app, but I find it an intuitive way to learn a new tool. In this case, Alpine JS. I like challenges, so I set some preconditions to make the TODO app. The primary rules are I can't write a single line of vanilla JavaScript. After I give myself the challenge, I thought, isn't it too hard for me who have not seen any Alpine code till today? I filled my water bottle, sat on my coding chair, and started reading the Alpine documentation. Honestly, I think Alpine documentation is very good and to the point. It contains all the information and coding examples. Then I continued reading until it's evening and I don't even noticed.
One eternity later.
I have finished the reading documentation and I think I have an idea about how to use Alpine in a project. Let's build the project then. This is a TODO app I have built using Alpine JS. You can add TODO, delete it, and also your TODOs persist to the local storage. Guess how many lines of code required to build this functionality? 50? 100? 150? Okay, let's rebuild the code to see it yourself. If you look closely, it takes only 50 to 20 lines of HTML code. This xData attribute stores some data and represents an Alpine component. I'm using the persist plugin to persist all TODOs to local storage. Yes, it is that simple. Let's take some time to understand Alpine plugins. If you are not interested in this section, you can skip to the next section. Currently, Alpine has 8 plugins which provide additional functionality to Alpine JS. All these plugins are good, but I like the Mask, Persist, and Morph plugin the most. Mask plugin automatically formats the user input. You just add the xMask attribute and user inputs are auto-formatted by Alpine. Persist plugin persists the value to the local storage. Add persist method to any value inside the xData attribute and the value will automatically save to the local storage. During the page refresh, it also automatically pulls the data and render it on the screen. I am using this feature in this app. Morph plugin will work like Laravel Livewire and Phoenix Live View. It can be really helpful if you want to sync HTML from your backend. Okay, let's come back to the topic. To put all my TODOs, I am using the x4 attribute or directive, whatever you want to call them. If it loop over all the TODO elements and render it a list element for each of them. This is the delete button. It listens for user click events and delete the element from the TODO array. During the implementation of this delete feature, I thought I have to manually update and re-render the TODO elements, but to my surprise, Alpine is reactive. It automatically renders the elements when a value changes. This is the input area. I can reference an element using the xref attribute. When a user click on the add button, it pushes the value to the to-do array. And again, Alpine re-render the to-do elements automatically. Honestly, I haven't expected this type of reactivity from Alpine. Even more funny thing is, Alpine supports two-way data binding. Let's take an example. Here, you can see the documentation. You can bind an element to an input field by adding just two attributes. That's all it takes to make a reactive UI in Alpine. Not only that, Alpine has custom click event modifier like debounce, throttle, etc. Alpine also includes some magics. Magics are reactive method used in conjunction with other Alpine attributes. You can use watch magic for watching, next trick to execute code after component render, etc. etc. All these nice goodies come in a nifty little package. Honestly, I find Alpine is a very much replacement for other JavaScript libraries for your side projects. It gives me the same vibe when I tried Svelte for the first time. So much you can do with so little code. So if you are watching till now, try Alpine this weekend. You will love it. The project link is in the description. Do check it out. And don't forget to subscribe. More videos to come. Bye.